Welcome back. My name is Luis Mendez, and I'm going to be telling you everything you have to know before moving to Osceola County. Now, where is Osceola County? Well, Osceola County is in Central Florida and is directly south of Orlando. So, or when most people think about Central Florida, the number one, name that pops out is going to be Orlando. Maybe Tampa, maybe Cocoa Beach, but more than anything, the first thing that always pops up is Orlando. But that's going to be another video we're going to be talking about. Today's video is about Osceola County, and that includes Kissimmee, St. Cloud, Poinciana, and Celebration. Now, Osceola County, depending on these little areas and towns, you're about 25 to 30 minutes away from, I would say, the heart of Orlando. From the airport, same, I would say, from 30 to 45 minutes away from the Orlando International Airport. And you're about an hour away from Cocoa Beach, which is directly just take the beeline or take 192 all the way across, or you're about an hour and a half away from the Gulf Coast. So, and the reason why it's that fast is you're right, you have a lot of highways that makes it easy for you. So, Osceola County is one of the fastest growing counties in Central Florida because it gives people access to Orlando jobs and entertainment while still having a little bit more space and housing options. Now, what are some of the pros and cons about moving to uh, Osceola County? Well, let's start with the good news. The good news is you get more for your money. And this is, oh, now mind you, I'm going to be comparing this to Orlando because when we, like I said, when we talk about Central Florida, we always like look at Orlando as the main subject, and then we throw up all the comps and kind of like get an idea for it. Well, Osceola County, the homes are a little bit more cheaper than it is in Orlando. And you get a little bit more space. And the reason for that is, especially in the heart of Orlando, a lot of the older homes are from like the 50s. So you have it's very common to find three bedroom, one bath, or three bedroom, one and a half bath, and they're block homes, unless you're kind of like in the outer side of Orlando. But the heart of Orlando, you have a lot of those older homes in that style. So you have newer homes and they're built bigger. So that's a good thing. One thing you would notice is the master bathroom looks like a master. It's huge. It's humongous. Or the master bedroom, the owner's suite is large. Instead of, you go into a place and it's like 10 by 12, 10 by 12, 10 by 12 for all bedrooms. And then the master bathroom is like a half bath or like a really tiny bathroom. Is like a little pocket-sized bathroom and shower. That's how things were in the past. Or now newer homes, it's the owner's house. This is the owner's suite, the master bedroom. So you get the luxury part of it, and then everyone else gets the smaller size. So number two is the location is very convenient, and that is very true. Mind you, you're just south of Orlando, so you're close to Disney, close to Universal, close to major highways. You have the 408, which used to be called the East and West, I-4, 429, and then you have the Beeline, which is totally forgot the name of that road, but everyone calls it the Beeline because it just goes straight, if you want to head straight out to the airport or to the beach, you just hit the Beeline. So you're really close to a lot of major things. So if you're looking for a place to live and a place to work, it's like a no-brainer. One, there's a lot of new constructions and new communities, even till this day, 20 plus years. I remember we moved to Orlando in 1998. And I remember visiting my cousin out in Poinciana. And for us, we thought Poinciana was like, man, this is so country. There was nothing, absolutely nothing out there. And we're like, wow, you live in the middle of nowhere. Now there's a lot of homes there. But he lived in a brand new house. And but till this, 20, Wow, that's been a long time. 28 years later, there's still a lot of new constructions happening in that area. I mean, there's a lot to grow because when you look at all of Osceola County, the top half is mostly filled up, but there's still lots of pockets that they're still building homes. And then you have the whole south side of it, that there's so much space. So there's a lot of outdoor lifestyle, especially if you like fishing. There's lakes, parks, boating, fishing, and then for lakes you have Lake Toho, and then you have Lake Kissimmee, which are huge draws, especially if you're into fishing, bass fishing. I don't know about kayaking and canoeing in those big lakes. I'm not a fan of that because there are gators. Number one question I get people from outside, is there like a lake or an area there's no gators? Not in Florida. If the water's wet, there's a gator in there. At least that's the mindset. And another mindset, if you can't see what's in the water, don't get in the water. But there's a lot of growth and development happening. And with that, you get new retail, restaurants, infrastructures being built, things expanding, lifestyles getting better, more job opportunities. So it's not just going to be great to live in an area here. The functionality of the neighborhood is going to work out good. Now, with that, those are the pros. Those are some of the pros. There's like a million more pros. But with the pros, there are some cons. Traffic. Osceola County and Orange County are are big in traffic, especially the north part of Osceola County. Everything else is not so bad. Maybe Poinciana, and then that'll be another video. But it is heavy on the north side of traffic. And we're talking like if you head from St. Cloud and you're driving across to like Claremont, you go from like 27, 192, drive straight to 20, to St. Cloud area. It's gonna take an hour during the day. At night, it'll probably take 25 minutes. It's that wild. There's so many red lights, so many people on the road. There's lots of attractions, there's lots of hotels, lots of red lights. So that's the downside. Like if you live in St. Cloud, but you have to work in Animal Kingdom, you want to make sure you jump on the turnpike because if not, it's going to take a long time to get there. Turnpike, you be there in like 15, 20 minutes. That's the downside of it. Now, of course, tourist attractions, that's, a lot of tourists um, they bring a lot of the traffic. So you could kind of know when to go, if you're going out to places like, Christmas, summer, spring break, those are the heavy times. Whereas in January, February, April, September, August, or like the end of August, September for sure, beginning of October, beginning of November, beginning of December, it's really slow. So that's kind of like how you would mess with these places. Walmarts, stay away from the Walmarts that are like near traffic areas, like near tourist. If you have to go to a Walmart, make sure you go to a Walmart that is not near a tourist side. Like if you're in Kissimmee, right there on 192, which is like south of Disney, there's a Walmart there. If you got two people, one person just goes in, waits in line, the other person shops, and by the time you're halfway near the register, the other person will be done shopping, and that's how it is. I mean, it's so busy there. Finding a parking spot is crazy. There is, like I said, there's a lot of growth there. HOAs and CDDs are, either lower or there's very few. And the HOAs there, and the CDDs, the amenities are a lot better than I would say a lot of the older neighborhoods. Because there's some older neighborhoods where it has an HOA and a CDD, or if it does have a CDD, it doesn't offer much, or the playgrounds or the amenities are so outdated. It's like, it doesn't make sense. So these newer neighborhoods, it's almost like living in a luxury resort in a sense. But that is one thing that some people don't like, the HOA and CDDs. . And then the distance from, you know, A con is a distance from downtown Orlando nightlife. If you're trying to go to the downtown Orlando, most likely you probably don't want to drive the 30, 45 minutes to get there because you're out in the country or kind of country. You're in a suburban lifestyle. So most people don't like that. But now, where do most people work? So I would say the huge, grand majority of the people work either in hospitality, tourism, or have some form of work that deals with that from retail, logistics, constructions, and trades that has to do with things nearby. Um, health, there's a lot of healthcare workers who are working out there. And also the educational, there's Osceola County School Board. So there's a lot of work in there that's geared towards, you're kind of leaving Osceola County, kind of like heading towards the south part of Orlando, south part of Orange County, which is, mind you, Disney is in Lake Buena Vista, which is like right there in the line of Orange County and Osceola County. And then um that's where the majority is. And of course you have Universal, you have when I get to Orlando in Orange County, I'll be talking about there's a lot of jobs and a lot of new jobs coming there. But a lot of the people in that area drive there, and that's why rush hour coming back to and from is massive. But if you could avoid the rush hour times, there's like barely enough traffic. During lunchtime, there's not that much traffic going on between that. Now, there are quite a few colleges in the area. You have Valencia College, which is the Osceola campus, and Valencia is the biggest community, as from what I remember, it is the biggest community college in all of the United States. You have, Osceola, you have West Campus, which is in Orlando, you have Winter Park, and East Campus, which is just north of the Osceola campus, is not too far. And there, I know, I'm sure there's other campuses as well. You have Osceola Technical College, you have UCF. We're really close to UCF, especially if you're in a St. Cloud area. So there's many accessible ways to get there, and there's several vocational training programs as well. Now let's dive into the housing market. So the overall housing market price range for Osceola campus, for Osceola County is about 340,000 to 380,000. That's going to be the average, it's going to be like it makes sense for that area. But with that being said, there are some luxury neighborhoods in there. So Celebration is by far the number one spot, number one luxury neighborhood, in all of Osceola County. And then you have parts of Celebration, especially near the lakefront communities, and then Reunion. But when we're talking about, luxury, the price points are going to be from 600,000 to $1 million plus. Now, Celebration is where a lot of people would love to go to. And if you just see it, it looks completely different from all of Osceola County. And I believe in St. Cloud is kind of trying to copy that a little bit as well. They're having the front porches. They have the porch in the front, driveway in the back, and the alleys, and then they have little shopping centers in some places, apartments, and condos, and then you have the shopping centers in the bottom. Where if you go to Central Florida, I like taking people to downtown Celebration, especially going to like Columbia to go out to eat and stuff like that. And especially during Christmas, is very beautiful out there. Now, if you're looking for an affordable area, we're going to be talking about Poinciana, some areas in Kissimmee, but mostly Poinciana. And the reason for is because you have like Celebrations up here, you have Kissimmee, which is like all around this area. St. Cloud is over here, and then Poinciana is south of Kissimmee and south of Celebration. Now, the when you look in Poinciana, it'll still say Kissimmee, but it's like a huge island, I would say, just south of the main part of Kissimmee and main part of Celebration. It's south of it, and those houses are more affordable. There's a lot of new construction going on there as well. And those houses range from 260,000 to up to 320,000. So those houses are way cheaper when it's compared to many places. Now, from those houses to Orlando, you are talking about the 40-minute range, 40-minute to an hour range, because you are driving from, the heart of Osceola County. Now, when we're talking about rentals, a three-bed house rental is going to rough go about 19 to $2,500 a month. So this is, of course, higher than Polk County. But the apartment rentals, you're looking at about like a two-bedroom, you're looking at about 1,600 to $2,000 a month, which is, I would say, close to what you would get a house for, rent a house for in Polk County. So the prices for rent in Osceola County is higher than Polk County for sure, but still cheaper than Orlando. So, of course, and that's going to really depend heavily on the location in Osceola and the amenities that each places have. Now, the cost of HOAs and CDD. HOAs on average in places that do have HOA is going to be from 75 to $2,000 a month. Now, if it's a resort style community, mind you, there is a lot of Airbnbs there. There are some places which are like resort houses where you stay there for like 6 months out of the year. Then of course that's going to be way higher. And then of course some communities have no HOAs. Now when we're talking about CDDs, I would say it's about $1,500 to $3,000 per year, but not every neighborhood has a CDD, so that's a huge plus. Now, utilities, I would say electric is about $140 to $220 per month. That's, of course, dependent on the size of the home and the use of the electric. Water, sewage, trash, you're looking about $70 to $120. And then internet is about the same as Polk, $60 to $90, but I highly recommend if you have T-Mobile, you could get to $35 a month home internet and it works tremendously. So overall, you're looking to spend about $250 to $400 monthly wise. So if you want to like kind of get a calculator, like, put average 400 at the highest mo just in case. And then, so grocery stores, of course, you got Walmart is everywhere, Aldi, Publix. This is Florida. You're going to have Publix out there. You do have Target, Bravo, you know, I love having a place to have Bravo because you have, all your I'm Puerto Rican, so if there's a lot of items I could get at Bravo that I can't really get at Aldi. But Osceola County also has Fresh Market. There's a new Sprouts in Poinciana, and I heard Poinciana might be getting a Trader Joe's. So not sure if that's 100% for real, but I saw that in quite a few articles, and if that's true, that'd be tremendous because that'll actually be closer to me. And my wife loves Trader Joe's, so that'd be kind of a cool treat I could just throw out there, like, hey, how about we go to Trader Joe's and make her happy? Uh, Again, things and attractions to do in Osceola County. You got Lake Tahoe, which is big in boating and fishing. Lots of tournaments, which I didn't think there was. I didn't think that was so big until I moved to Polk County and the Lake Wells. And I've been seeing a lot of ads on people going out to Lake Kissimmee to do these boating competitions. I mean, people are winning thousands of dollars for this. I mean, you have, two universities that have actual boating, like, teams, like, which is pretty interesting. Then you have Old Town, which is in Kissimmee, which is in Old Town, you have a thing called Fun Spot, which is it's like a mix between it's in the middle of a county fair and a theme park. It's like kind of both of that put together. You could either pay for one ride or get a whole day pass or year pass. It's really affordable. Everyone's gone there. If you want to go hang out, have fun, it's the cheapest, funnest place to go to. And Orlando has a place like that as well. You're 20 to 40 minutes away from Disney, Disney Springs, City Walk, Universal. You're very close to a lot of attractions, lots of restaurants in the area. We're talking culture, food from all over the world. Some of the best Puerto Rican food, Dominican food, out there. when it comes to that, it's like, Chimney King and Culantrio. Those are my two favorite places. And then you have Campo. I mean, I am Puerto Rican. I'm very biased when it comes to that food, but there's a lot of good places like that out there. Airboat rides, you have Wild Florida, which is, you know, from Celebration to Wild Florida is about an hour because you are driving south of Osceola County. You're heading, it's south of St. Cloud, but all the way out in the boonies. And that's if you live in Kissimmee or if you live in Florida and you want to experience outdoor Florida life, go to Wild Florida. That is an absolute must do. There's a lot of nature preserves, trails, golf communities, lots of places to go play golf. Downtown St. Cloud, which is, like I said, very beautiful out there. And of course, there's lots of local festivals and farmers market. Now, to end this video, who's, who's the best, like who's Osceola County best for? Like who would it be a good fit for? I would say families wanting newer homes, first-time buyers, remote workers needing extra space, Disney employees, Orlando workers, people wanting the suburban lifestyle near major attractions, and buyers who are priced out of Orlando. And who are priced out of Orlando is what I mean is, those whose parents bought houses in the 80s, 90s, or maybe early 2000s, those kids have grown up, got married, and they're probably renting in Orlando to stay close to family, but they want to buy their own house. Well, sometimes you don't want to live in the same area because it doesn't look as pretty as it used to be. And you want to live into a nicer home. You don't want to live in a block home that's like very tiny. So you go and look, you're like, okay, well, if I drive 20, 30 minutes away, I could buy a big house. I could buy, a brand new house for the same cost or for a lot cheaper than what it is living in Orlando. So that's what a lot of people have been doing, and that's what's going to be great for maybe for you. So if you're interested in finding out more about Orlando or more about Osceola County and want help finding the right neighborhood or community or home for you, reach out. My phone number is 407-790-6232, and I'd love to help you find the right home for you.